I'm Jessica. As I sit here in our backyard, watching my children play in the warm summer sun, I can't help but reflect on the incredible journey that has led us to this moment. The air is filled with the sweet scent of flowers and the sound of laughter, and I feel a sense of peace and contentment that I never thought possible. It all started on a sunny afternoon at the Portland Women's Health Center. I was 31 years old, and this was my first pregnancy. I had come in for a routine check, up expecting nothing more than a quick glance at the baby on the ultrasound. My husband, Ryan, a 36-year-old architect, sat beside me, his hand gently resting on mine. His eyes were filled with anticipation, and he had been dreaming of this moment for a long time. Dr. Lily Thompson, my obstetrician, adjusted the ultrasound wand on my stomach. The room was filled with the hum of the machine and the sterile smell of disinfectant mixed with the soft rustling of papers. Then, Dr. Thompson broke the silence. "Well, Jessica," she said with a warm smile, "I can confirm that everything looks healthy. And congratulations, you're expecting twins." The word twins hung in the air like a heavy cloud. For a moment, my mind went blank. I stared at the doctor, then at the glowing screen where two tiny flickers pulsed in tandem. Panic surged through me like a wildfire. I had always promised myself that I would only have one child. I had grown up in a large, chaotic family in rural Texas, where my parents were constantly struggling to make ends meet. My father was a hard-working but often absent truck driver, and my mother was overwhelmed with taking care of 7 children. I remembered the endless nights of cooking, cleaning, and taking care of my younger siblings while my parents were too exhausted to help. I had vowed that my own family would be different. I started to shake my head violently. "No," I whispered. "This can't be right. I can't do this." Tears streamed down my face, and I felt like I was suffocating. Ryan tried to comfort me, but I pulled my hand away. I buried my face in my hands and sobbed uncontrollably. Dr. Thompson tried to reassure me. "Jessica, both babies are developing well. This is wonderful news." But I couldn't hear her. All I could think about were the long, sleepless nights, the financial strain, and the fear of repeating my parents' mistakes. On the drive home, the rain tapped against the car windows, blurring the view of the Portland streets. Ryan kept one hand on the wheel and the other on my knee, offering me silent support. I sat in silence, lost in my thoughts. Our relationship hadn't always been like this. We had met at a local art gallery in Portland. I was a graphic designer, working long hours to build my career. Ryan was a talented architect, full of ideas and dreams. We had hit it off immediately, sharing a love for art and a passion for creating beautiful things. After a year of dating, we got married in a small, intimate ceremony by the ocean. With our savings, we bought a small house on the outskirts of the city. Ryan designed every detail of the house with me in mind, creating a warm and inviting space that felt like a safe haven. As we pulled into the driveway, I sat in the car, frozen. The house that was supposed to be my sanctuary now felt like a prison. Ryan helped me out of the car and led me into the living room. I sank onto the couch, still sobbing. Ryan knelt in front of me and took my hands. "Jessica, I know this is scary, but we built this house for our family. Whether it's one child or 2, we'll make it work. I'll be with you every step of the way." Slowly, my sobs quieted. I looked into his eyes and saw the love and determination there. I nodded, but the fear still lingered in my heart. In the following months, our lives changed in ways I could never have imagined. I gave birth to 2 healthy baby boys, Ethan and Lucas, at the main medical center. The moment I held them in my arms, I felt a love like I had never known before. Ryan was overjoyed, running around the room, taking pictures and thanking the nurses. At first, I was overwhelmed. 2 babies meant double the work, double the sleepless nights. But as the days passed, I began to realize that love doesn't divide. It multiplies. I learned to distinguish their cries, to anticipate their needs. Ryan was true to his word, sharing every task with me. He would get up in the middle of the night to feed the babies, and during the day, he would build them a rocking cradle in the garage. Our neighborhood was a diverse community. There were young couples just starting out, older couples enjoying their retirement, and families with children of all ages. Across the street lived a young couple with a little boy named Jake. I had noticed them before, but as I got more involved in motherhood, their situation became more apparent to me. Jake's parents were often out late, coming home with alcohol. Jake would follow them around, his small frame lost in oversized clothes. His hair was unkempt, and his cheeks were pale. I felt a pang in my heart every time I saw him. One cold, rainy afternoon, I was walking home from the grocery store when I heard a faint whimper coming from an abandoned house on the corner. I followed the sound and found Jake huddled under a bush. His clothes were soaked and he was shivering. He was clutching a teddy bear in his arms. "Jake," I said softly, "what are you doing out here in the rain?" He looked up at me with big, scared eyes and whispered, "Daddy's mad. Mommy's mad." I reached out my hand and said, "It's okay, Jake. Come with me. Let's get you warm." He hesitated for a moment, then took my hand. When we got to our house, I dried him off, gave him warm clothes, and made him a cup of hot cocoa. The nanny, who was taking care of Ethan and Lucas, was surprised to see Jake. I quickly explained that he was a neighbor's child just coming over to play. When Ryan came home, he was shocked to see Jake in our house. "Jessica, what's going on?" he asked. I told him what had happened, and he was torn. "I know it's terrible, but he's not our child. We can't just bring him into our home like this. His parents are responsible for him." I was angry. "Ryan, you didn't see him. He was freezing and scared. We can't just leave him out there." Ryan tried to reason with me, but I was determined. I couldn't let Jake go back to that situation. Over the next few weeks, I couldn't stop thinking about Jake. I would look across the street and see him playing alone in the yard or following his parents like a lost puppy. Then one fateful night, I received a message from a neighbor. There had been an accident. Jake's parents had been in a car crash and they didn't make it. My heart sank. I thought about Jake, alone in the world, with no one to take care of him. I knew I couldn't let him go into the foster care system. I talked to Ryan about adopting him. At first, he was hesitant. "Jessica, adoption is a big responsibility. We already have 2 babies. It will be a lot of work." But I was firm. "Ryan, Jake needs us. I know what it's like to feel alone and unwanted. We can't let him go through that." Ryan thought about it for a long time. He remembered how Jake had looked at us with hope in his eyes, and he knew that we couldn't turn our backs on him. We decided to go through with the adoption process. It was a long and difficult journey. We had to fill out endless forms, go through background checks, and have our home inspected. We met with Jake's extended relatives, but they didn't want to take him in. They were more concerned about the family house and the money. Finally, after months of waiting, we stood before a judge in a small courtroom. The judge looked at us and asked, "Are you prepared to assume full responsibility for this child, financially, emotionally, and legally, as though he were born to you?" I took a deep breath and said, "Yes." Ryan nodded firmly. "Yes, we are." The judge's gavel came down and the adoption was granted. That evening, we brought Jake home. We showed him his new room, which we had decorated with toys and books. He looked at us with a shy smile and said, "Can I say hi to my brothers?" We walked into the nursery where Ethan and Lucas were sleeping. Jake tiptoed over to the cribs and whispered, "Hi." In that moment, I knew that our family was complete. A few months later, I discovered that I was pregnant again. I was terrified to tell Ryan. I thought he would be angry or overwhelmed. But when I told him, his face lit up with joy. "Jessica, this is a miracle. Our family is growing, and it's going to be amazing." As the years passed, our house became a place filled with love and laughter. The backyard that Ryan had designed was now a playground for the children. There was a swing set, a sandbox, and flower beds full of colorful flowers. On a golden summer afternoon, we gathered in the backyard to celebrate our daughter, Amelia's, 3rd birthday. Ethan and Lucas, now rambunctious 6-year-olds, were running around the yard playing tag. Jake, who had grown into a kind and confident 9-year-old, was sitting with Amelia, trying to braid her hair. Ryan sat beside me on the picnic blanket and handed me a glass of lemonade. "Look at them," he said. "Our family. We did it." I nodded, tears in my eyes. Yes, we did. And I wouldn't change a thing. I thought about the journey that had brought us here, the fear, the doubt, and the challenges we had faced. But in the end, love had triumphed. I had once been so afraid of having too many children, of repeating the mistakes of my past. But now I knew that love has no limits. Our family, stitched together by fate and choice, was stronger than I could have ever imagined. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the yard, I leaned against Ryan's shoulder and watched our children play. I felt a sense of peace and gratitude wash over me. This was the life I had always dreamed of, and I was grateful for every moment. Do subscribe.